Do not use these. Please, please, for the love of God, do not use these. It would be a total waste. This thing is completely broken, and we need to send a message. It is as simple as that. How the heck are you guys? I am Fastidious. Welcome to the channel, and today I want to talk about something a little critical regarding the game. The video's gonna be a little negative. I want to get that out of the way at the beginning, but I do think this is one of the more serious issues in the game right now, and that is going to be the limit on attempts per Keystone in Malrik's Halls of Illusion. So Malrik's Halls of Illusion was added 4 months ago. Does that sound right? 3 months ago, sometime right before the anniversary, start of the summer. It was a great addition to the game. It was very exciting. There was an RNG, almost like roguelite element. You're not really choosing your own path, but you're getting a different set of conditions with every instance. It is very fun. It is very challenging, and the rewards are very lucrative. So it was a fun piece of content to engage in for so many players. And I do think it was a big win right out of the gate. Of course, depending on your player level, some of these runes were incredibly difficult. I think always for everyone, these level 5s are crazy, but the level 4s, especially the higher rarity, were reserved for the tippy top. The lower level 4s were something, endgame accounts could probably grind out. The harder level 3s were more, late game players, early endgame players. And then I think a lot of other well-developed accounts could handle the rest if they had the right heroes. So it was like a natural, a hierarchy of difficulty within this piece of content. There was a little something for everyone. And they even very recently added this great thing where you could insert a rune and auto fight it, right? And if you know how strong your account is and how strong your gear and heroes are, you quickly could find the level and the rarity within each level that you could just pop this in. So I can go in now and confidently know I'm not going to let anyone through on a full auto while I talk to you guys right now. The fights do last freaking forever, so the auto is welcome, but even as you'll see as I chat right now, I do still think they're a bit too long, though at the end of the day, it's really good content. I thought this was one of the best things the devs had done in all of 2025. However,
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
if you did not know, I think this was either 1 or 2 updates ago. Well, obviously it wasn't the most recent one, so I guess it was either 2 or 3 updates ago. They added a new system called Keystone Energy. Some of you might not even be familiar with this, especially if you don't engage with Malrik content. But Keystone Energy is a huge stinky joke, and I hate it so much. Basically, they hard-coded it so you can only attempt 1 keystone 5 times. You'll get this attempt that you're seeing behind me. It's gonna go on and on. Actually, someone died, so maybe something's gonna get messed up here. Probably not on a level 1 on my account, but we'll see. But you get your attempt, and once it's over, even if you kill everyone and you have a perfect run, which it does look like we're gonna have here, they're gonna give you an attempt to lock in the results or use some of your remaining Keystone Energy. So you'll see that at the end of this fight. It will say 4 out of 5 Keystone Energy remaining. So what is a Keystone Energy? What is a unit of Keystone Energy? It is an attempt. So whether it goes perfectly or horribly, you always have the option to lock in the results or try again. Obviously, if it goes perfectly, no reason to try again, but you can only do that 5 times. So after your first one, you can only do it 4 more times. And this is so antithetical to the way they designed this content. On the lower level ones, you're probably overpowered. There are less of these stage tags of these strange conditions you have to account for. But on the higher ones, the tags are impossible. And you have to learn them over many, 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 many attempts a lot of times. You have to figure out, all right, what are the qualifiers here? What are the restrictions here? How are they OP and gonna try to destroy me here? And I've done I think the highest I did was a gold level 4, and it took me 2 hours. And I have a very good account. To be fair, I kind of neutered myself by not using all my best heroes, but I still was using phenomenal gear, very good heroes, great awakenings, and it was a huge grind. But it was fun, because that's what this content is. It's like you get these kind of RNG created instances because you do not know. Obviously, you can read beforehand, but when a keystone drops, you don't know what the qualifiers are going to be. Then you see what they are. Very often, especially at the harder levels, there are so many qualifiers that each time you're taking on one, it is fully unique or at least partially unique. I've never had a hard like level 4 or higher that was the same as a different level 4 I had done, which is very fresh in a game that doesn't have that much fresh content. And it was fun. I'm not complaining that it took me 2 hours. I enjoyed it. I even streamed one of them. I think it was a purple level 4 that I think I finished over 2 sessions. I did it for like 30 minutes, an hour at the end of one session, and then I started it at the end of the next live stream. And it was really cool. Like you're learning a new challenge in real time, and you're engaging with it. You're trying out new heroes, trying out new builds, and it's an actual tower defense challenge. It did used to be that you couldn't retry it all. So I know it's getting kind of deep in the video, and people are like, well, 5 energy, 5 attempts is better than the way it used to be, which was 0 extra tries, just 1 attempt, right? And to that I say, no. Maybe you didn't know this, but you could just quit out of the game and start over. And yes, that was clunky. Yes, it was annoying, but everyone did it. It was just, whether it was a feature of the game or not, that's how these had to be approached. But then the devs went ahead and they did this. So you can see it on the bottom now. Remaining Keystone energy, I'm at 4 out of 5. So even though I killed everything, I maxed out my chests, I still have the opportunity to give up and leave or claim. Obviously, I'm going to claim because we maxed it. But if I did give up and leave, I now have locked in that I only have 4 more attempts. And if I did that again, I only have 3 more attempts, and then 2, and then 1, and then poof, the Keystone's unused. Or frankly, on your last attempt, you're just going to have to claim whatever you've got. So on the lower level ones, for a lot of accounts, this won't be an issue. On the higher level ones, it makes it so this is unplayable content. And there's no other way to put it. No one can do this in 5 tries. Honestly, I sincerely think my mythic rarity level 5 mossy crystal, I don't think there's an account out there, unless they've already done one very similar, could get this in 5 tries. Maybe if you like did an attempt, took a million notes, and like prepared for 20, 30 minutes, an hour between each attempt intellectually in your, your mind palace before going back in, maybe you could throw something together. But I can't overstate how difficult this is. 1.42 million recommended BP. This should be something you can attempt 10 million times. There is no reason that they've introduced this as the only non-replayable content in the game. It makes no sense. This is the ultimate piece of content in the game that should be replayable, and you can keep retrying and tinkering and tankering and so on and so on. But they have gone the opposite direction. So let's arrive at the big point of my video. Malrik is 1,000,000% necessary content because gems are super powerful. It is a great way to get, ancient summons. It is a great, incredible way to get legendary skill crystals, which, until you get very, very deep into the game, are a very rare resource because there's so many units you want to build. It is content you have to farm. But basically, I'm being a little conservative here. These obviously I'll knock out. These are new ones. But, I've saved all my level 3s, level 4s, and level 5s. Probably I could get these level 3s within 5 tries, but it would be a little risky, especially if we go to like this mythic one. But the level 4s and level 5s, I think we're at a point, especially the level 5s, do not touch it. Do not even try. There's no shot. I mean, these level 4s too, a legendary and a mythic level 4, do not use these ever. And why do I say that? Because the devs have to change this. Not we want them to change this. There's no way they won't change this. Part of the reason I'm hoping they're going to start changing this is because of my video. I know people have been making a lot of noise on Discord as well. It is, like I said, antithetical is the word. Having the most RNG, fresh, new content you're jumping into every time, because each one of these things are different, right? Having that every time, but then having this be the only content where, even though each instance is fresh and a new challenge, you have limited attempts, makes no sense. It is as backwards as anything could possibly be. And it is terrible, and it is enraging people, not just me. So I want to give you an example here. Shout out to my boy K-Val. Maybe a couple of you might recognize his name. He's not a content creator or anything, but he has had his name on the top of many of the leaderboards in Watch of Realms for 2 years, probably. An incredibly long amount of time. So K-Val was one of the first accounts ever to get 400k in APOC 2. He was the first account ever to get 200k in Nightmare 4. I remember back in the day, the first account that got 100k in Nightmare 4, he did this for no reason, right? The chest is 50k, but if I look over here, He sent me the image right before he got it, and then I saw he posted it on a different forum. But this was one of his Nightmare 4 runs from a month or two ago. This was July 13th. He was the first. You could have seen it in game leaderboard, and I'm only like praising him. Well, he's a cool guy, but I'm only really pointing this out to say this is not a casual Wanderer of Realms player, and this also isn't a free-to-play player. This is a guy who invested tons of time and tons of money into the game, was one of the experts of the game, and this was his breaking point. He has currently quit the game, and he's not coming back unless things change. And the number one thing that has disturbed him is this Malrik stuff. So he reached out to me on September 5th. He said, yo, hope you good. I'm actually leaving the game until they replace me in GVG. Happy to leave some feedback if it thinks it's going to help you. I said, sorry to hear that. Had a great time, struggling with longevity, blah, blah, blah. I said, what do you think's broken? He said, Valara. That's a whole other story. And I said, these things come and go, though. Be patient. And he said, yeah, GVG only metas Valara, but that's actually not why I quit. No, the reason I quit is going to be Malrik. It's going to be the Black Sewers. He said some of the best account progression and challenging PvE content they've ever done. He loved it too. Like, this is how most people felt. Most endgame players were like, Malrik is the biggest win of 2025. But then he goes, it's great. I was spending hours trying to solve them, and now the attempts are capped. No player in the entire game is beating most level 4s in 5 attempts, let alone 5s. I don't know if a single player has beaten a red level 5 or even a gold level 5 since they introduced this. Even before they introduced the cap, most players still couldn't even do it. So it's just something you have to save, right? I said, I actually have a rant on that this weekend. We're 2 weekends late, but you get it. Happy to use my account name if it helps your influence. I said, if you want, sure. He says, whatever works. If they remove the, he literally says this, if they remove the cap, I genuinely consider still playing. It's great content. Drop rates very low, difficulty very hard, absolutely no justification for a cap. Thanks for hearing me out. Have given direct feedback, but seems to fall on deaf ears, so I decided to turn to the big gun. All right, he doesn't have to say that, but I think his point is, it's just so backwards. And I think what offended him, and this is something that in a million different pieces of content in a million different situations throughout the history of Watcher Realms for over 2 years now has bothered a lot of high level players, is that it really feels like the devs don't actually play the game. Obviously they do. And I do feel like in certain ways they play the game more than other devs play other games. But something like this, there is no way they introduced this cap thinking a soul could get this done. You know, I sincerely think there's no way more than 5 people could get this done if you had like a whole group of people going on. We couldn't get this done on my test server account. You know, if I maxed everything out, maybe if we all combined our minds and, like I said, had an Excel spreadsheet that we would like edit and fill with notes and theories and ideas, and we could brainstorm as a mind collective between every attempt. But then, I mean, this has become a joke, right? If that's what you have to do. So it's completely backwards. It is it's a farce, and it's ridiculous. And as K-Val said, this was like the best content in the game. Some of the best account progression and challenging PvE content they've ever done. And I've praised Malrik's Halls of Illusions so many times. I also want to point out the new illusion, the new instance is coming out very shortly. It's live on test server right now. I'm going to have content on that next week. It's pretty cool. It's like this volcanic situation, very different paths the enemies take. It's new content, right? But it's still a Halls of Illusion. It's one of the hall. It's one of the halls. It is a hall. So it's going to have this stupid ass cap. And I think we all need to really come together and make it clear we're not doing this. You know, farm your lower level ones on auto, or if you're a lower level account, grind them out a little bit because you need the rewards. But I think we should all commit to just not doing any level 4s and level 5s and just show them, like, we're not doing this. Like, this is ridiculous. At the very least, what they should do is make level 1 5 attempts, make level 2 10 attempts, make level 3 15 attempts, make level 4 50 attempts, and make level 5 200 attempts. Something like that. Then at least it feels like they're not insanely tone deaf. But as it stands right now, this is just a joke. What they should really do, if I'm being for real, is unlimited attempts on everything. Why would this be the singular piece of content we don't get unlimited attempts? If you're trying to beat Gear Raid 319 for the first time, or 221 for the first time, or Gear Dungeon 110 for the first time, you know how many times you can do it? Every second of your life until you die. You could do it forever. They never penalize you with stamina. They never penalize you with some kind of other demerit on your account. You can just grind and grind and grind until you solve the puzzle, until you crack the case for your account. And that is the fun of this game. And they introduced this new great content, and they took away all of that fun, and they just make it a burden. So, 2 reasons you shouldn't spend any of this. 1, send a message. The hardest ones that you're worried about, just don't do them. They have analytics, and they're going to see, wow, all these guys have all their level 5s and level 4s, and then some other accounts will have all their level 3s just sitting there, right? Collecting dust. And they might say, hey, maybe something we designed is wrong. Maybe some part of this gameplay loop is a little completely out of whack. That's the first thing we can do, and that's the first reason you should do it. The second, well, it's the same thing, but the second reason you should do it is simply you'd be wasting the resource. They need to change this. I'm expecting them to change this. There is no reason to attempt these and waste these, because it would be a waste until they do change it. You know, just let these collect dust, because they have to do something here. They have to add so many more attempts if they want an attempt cap, or frankly, they need to remove an attempt cap, because this is crazy. Do not use these. Do not use these, please, for the love of God. Do not use these. Please, please, for the love of God, do not use these. It would be a total waste. This thing is completely broken, and we need to send a message. It is as simple as that. So I know a lot of this video has just been me with the Malrik insert portal behind me and a bunch of keystones, but I hope it entertained you guys a little bit, and I really hope it made my thoughts on the issue clear. If you agree, make some noise, you know, get people together in your guild and post on Discord. Make a Discord suggestion, and if someone makes a good one that has some traction, send it to me. We'll share it. I'll ask other CCs to share it, or you can ask other CCs to share it, and maybe it can get 1,000 likes or 2,000 likes. I don't know. But this is such a broken problem in the game when it's such necessary content and it's such fun content, and they've made it completely unplayable. And frankly, they've turned it into a joke. Very quickly, another big problem with this I wanted to talk about is the fact that they are making these keystones drops that are replacing other drops in chests. So the biggest, probably best example of this is going to be in Titanic Ruins, where they added these very high quality keystones that can potentially drop as one of your drops. You can see though here, each Titanic Ruins chest at the highest level here only holds 16 random items, or if you're at a lower level, it's only gonna hold 13, and you still have that chance to drop the keystones. So they've added a new reward that can drop that effectively, if it's a more difficult one, a higher level one, a higher rarity one, it is not a reward at all. It's nothing. It's something that's gonna stay and collect dust in your Malrik's interface screen, right? So what is the result? We are getting a lot less ancient summons from Titanic Ruins. We are getting a lot less legendary summoning crystals. We get exactly 16 drops, and now some of those are these keystones, and when they are the good keystones and they're level 3 or level 4 or level 5 and higher rarities, we're not using them because we can't use them. They're giving us a reward that we cannot engage with, or at least we should not be engaging with. And it is at the cost of your ancient summonings, of your attempts to get Valara or Erlangshad or Sithra, any of the new guys you've been wanting, any of the ancient exclusive legendary lords you need like Nastia and Valderon and Ingrid and Praetus. You get the point. So on top of ruining the already good content, they are now using the new version, or the new way to interact and enter that content. They're using that as a reward, which in turn is reducing the amount of the other rewards you really wanted, while that reward is unusable, right? So you're getting less ancient summons, and you're getting more of this, and you're getting more good ones of this, which means you're getting more stuff that's gonna sit on the shelf. And it's such a whole weird backwards thing. Please, Moonton, it needs to change, please. So that is where I want to end it. Please, Moonton, I'm not just being negative. We're not just being negative. KVAL is not just threatening people. This needs to change. It's so tone deaf to have an attempt cap. Please remove it, or for the harder difficulties, make it so much higher. Please, please, please. Let me know all of your thoughts below, guys. I've been Fastidious. If you do like my stuff, please subscribe to the channel, share it with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.